What's good, y'all? Anderson here to talk about the Oslo and Stockholm Diamond Leagues. These are going down over the course of about 3-4 days. You have the Oslo Diamond League in Oslo, Norway on June 12th, actually just tomorrow. And then you have the Stockholm Diamond League in Stockholm, Sweden going down on June 15th. So kind of like back-to-back Diamond League races that are going to be going down in the middle of June here. And you'll see a lot of athletes going to both meets. And I think they set things up very intentionally for that. But we're going to see some very high quality athletes amongst these very high quality fields. The women's 100, we're going to see Julien Alfred. The men's 300 hurdles, 400 hurdles, we're going to see Karsten Dos Santos, Rob Benjamin. This is going to be exciting. So let's dive in. Very quick preview of the Diamond Leagues that are going down these next couple days. Women's 100, I think, is, in my opinion, next to the hurdles, the race that we really do want to look forward to, because Julien Alfred is actually opening up her 2025 season in the 100 meters. Now, we've already seen her run the 200, where she's run 21.88 seconds. She's run the 300, she's run the 400, she's run a plethora of different races across the board, but this is going to be her first 100-meter race of the season. And this is notable because she's the Olympic champion in the 100. People would probably say, even though she's, 100, 200, the 100 is definitely kind of the event that favors her to a degree. And we've seen athletes like Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She's dropped 10.7 already, right? We've seen, some athletes drop some fast times, right? Tia Clayton, like all these athletes across the board. So Julien Alfred, 100 meters here in Oslo. Again, opener. I don't have many high expectations though. I'm trying to balance things where I do think that it would be, she is clearly in sub 11 form, right? She is more than likely able to run sub 11 based on the fact that she's already run 21.8 seconds and she's run another, strong 200 at one of the continental tours. So she is more than capable of running sub 11. But I don't know if it's a guarantee that Julien Alfred is going to run, 10-8, 10-7 or something like that. But I am balancing expectations. I feel like a 10-9, 10-8 might be likely based on, hopefully some good conditions and based on previous form. But I don't know what she actually might produce. But the good thing is she's competing here in Oslo and then also in Stockholm a few days later, which we'll take a look at in a second as well. Now, she'll have some, decent competition. Dean Asher-Smith, we've already seen her run the 100 meters at Grand Slam track. She ran 11.1. You have Zeynep Dosso, who is the European indoor champion, and then the world indoor silver medalist in the 60 meters. Gina Lukenkemper, is in here. You have Daryl Nita, who was in Grand Slam track. Also, she had to pull out of Philly, some setbacks, change of training environment this past year. She's going to be running here. Marie-José Talu-Smith is going to be in the mix. Patricia Van der Weeken, right? So decent field. Shout out to Maya McCoy. Decent field for the most part, but Julien Alfred is the name here. I think clear favorite. The question is, how fast is she actually able to go? Is she able to not only break 11? Is she maybe able to run 10-8? Right? I don't know. Balancing expectations. But this is the first one. If we move over to Stockholm, we're actually going to see a very, very similar field with some of the same women. Slight changes. You do have Julia Henriksen coming into the field, but pretty much the same field. When we talk about Stockholm, this is where I might see an increase. Hypothetically, let's say in Oslo, Julien Alfred runs 10.9 or 11 flat or something around that range. In Stockholm, again, depending on the conditions and the weather, I actually think Julien might go slightly faster because she's gotten her legs moving. She hasn't competed in a few weeks now at this point. So, it's been a little bit of time. I think as she gets her legs moving, as she, gets back into the groove of things, run 100 in Oslo, gets to Stockholm, and then she drops something really strong. Now, again, I don't want to predict like she's going to run 10-8, 10-7, but, Julien Alfred is one of the most talented athletes, in the world right now. And of course, in history, when talking about the fact that she's run 10.72 seconds, right? So Julien Alfred, we're going to see how she does fare. I do have my eye on Dean Asher-Smith though as well, because she obviously trains with Julien Alfred, but how is she going to be progressing? She hasn't done as well over the past couple years in the 100 specifically, but then also in the 200, where she hasn't gotten a medal since 2022 at the World Championships, which is 3 years ago at this point. She is a former world champion in the 200. She is a former, World Championship silver medalist, both back in 2019, but the world is kind of, getting a little bit ahead of Dina. I really want to see what she's able to do here, and then as they move into the future. So shout out to Julien Alfred, Dean Asher-Smith, Daryl Nita, Marie-José Talu, the entire field, Zeynep Dosso. Going to be exciting to see how that does play out. But let's talk about the men's hurdles, because we have a double header in the men's 300 meter hurdles out in Oslo and then they're all going to be doubling back at the Stockholm Diamond League for the 400-meter hurdles. This is going to be very, very exciting across the board for both of these events. And here we have the big three. Actually, low-key, we have the big four, or the big everybody, right? Of course, you got Rai Benjamin, you have Karsten Warholm, and you have Alison dos Santos. But I say big four because let's not forget what Abdurrahman Samba from Qatar did back in 2018. The first athlete after Kevin Young's world record to break the 47-second barrier. That 46.98 back in 2018, that set the trend for what's actually occurring now. Check out the video I did a long time ago about the progression of the men's 400-meter hurdles. But a couple different storylines where you have here. This is the men's 300-meter hurdles out in Oslo first, and then you'll have the 400 hurdles in Stockholm. Karsten Warholm, he actually broke the world record in the 300-meter hurdles at the Oslo Men Diamond League early this year, but Alison dos Santos, he's now stepping into the fold, and he's been tearing it up in Grand Slam track, specifically in the 400-meter hurdles. We've already seen him run 47 seconds in the hurdles, so we know that he's able to, run a fast time in 2025. Now, he did dip down to the 200-meter hurdles at the Adidas Atlantic City Games, broke the world record, but I think the hurdles were a little shorter than they were supposed to be, but we just know that he is in great form. Rai Benjamin is the big question mark here. Obviously, we know pretty much all these guys are capable of breaking the world record, but someone like Rai Benjamin, he hasn't even run this year at all, like nothing, except indoors. He ran that 300 all the way back in like February or whatever it was in Boston. So we don't know what his form is like. And in the press conference that they just had today, he actually said like, I think I'm in good form, but I'm not even sure. We'll see tomorrow. So we'll see. But I think this will set things up for a very high quality match between these three, and hopefully set them up really well for the Tokyo World Championships later on this year. But I do think that Karsten Warholm overall might have the slight edge over Alison dos Santos in this field. Again, Rai Benjamin, he hasn't opened up, so I can't even, there's nothing I could say. I have absolutely no idea. But Karsten Warholm, coming off what he did already this year, I think he might have a slight edge, just going based off what I saw from Alison in Philly Grand Slam, though I don't think that was truly indicative of, where he's at. I think Karsten, maybe Alison, and then Rai, but anything could actually happen. Shout out to Samba. He's, of course, one who could never be forgotten. He's not in that old form, but, he's always a trailblazer in a sense. Trevor Bassett is in excellent form. Coming off that Grand Slam title in Philly, excellent form. You also have, Lima, who's a really strong performer here as well. So a couple guys who are in this mix who I do like. In the 400-meter hurdles, like I said with the women in the 100, this is going to be, in my opinion, based off what we saw from Oslo. Depending on how things unfold, Rai Benjamin will finally have a race under his belt, so he'll be able to kind of step things up. Karsten Warholm, he's already run 47.2 this year. Alison dos Santos, he's already run 47.6, right? So this will be another really interesting race to see and watch how this actually does play out. But in the 300 hurdles, first, I'm looking at Karsten Warholm to probably take the win, just based on, his little edge over Alison dos Santos. But it'll be interesting to see how Rai Benjamin does fare out in both these races. And they're going to be playing mind games where it's like, okay, Karsten got the win, or Alison got the win, or Rai is able to open up like this. That's going to be mind games as they lead into the World Championships. It's amazing. Check out the interview. I'm going to put the full one out probably towards the end of this week, but check out the clips that I have with Kevin Young, the interview that I did with him, kind of highlighting the insane nature of, these three guys competing together at the same time. Now, let's talk about the 200. Again, we're going to see a lot of the same guys doubling back between Oslo and Stockholm, but we are going to see a decent field here. You have Andre DeGrasse and Aaron Brown. They've been, having a pretty strong season overall. Joseph Fahnbulleh, he's already dropped 20.07 this year. He's in some, I feel like 2025 is going to be a big year for Joe Fahnbulleh. Now, I'm not predicting him to get on the podium, but I don't know. Something about Joe this year, look, he might be in some good form. Kyrie King in the field, Vernon Norwood, Rainer Mena, you can never count out 19.63 from a few years back. So pretty strong field overall. Filippo Tortu. I think this is going to be the same field that we'll see in Stockholm as well, except Vernon won't be here. We'll have a couple other guys entering the fold. Andre DeGrasse also won't be here. I really do love seeing these South Africans in here, right? Abdurrahman Kareem, he's going to be in this field. He's already run 20.15. So this is great. Shout out to South Africa. Y'all been showing up. Like, obviously South Africa has always been one of the more consistent nations when it comes to athletics, but I don't know. I feel like y'all having a massive surge of young, talented sprinters over the past couple years, or whatever it may be. So shout out to South Africa, really holding things down across the board and, getting their athletes in various different races. Now, let's dive over and talk about the women's 400 once again, we're going to see a very similar field to in Oslo and Stockholm. But this is actually very high quality field. We have a bunch of athletes who competed in the Olympic final last year, right here in Oslo and Stockholm. Now, we don't have Marlita Paulino. We don't have Sawi Nasser, but behind them, we do have a full field of women who are going to be duking it out. Now you have Natalia Bukowiecka. I hope I got that pronunciation right. This is, of course, previously Natalia Kazmarek. She's going to be in the field. Of course, the Olympic bronze medalist from last year. Amber Anning is going to be in this field. Rashida Adeleke is going to be in this field. Rashida got 4th place at the Olympics. Amber got 5th place at the Olympics. Henriette Jager is going to be in this field. She got 8th place in the Olympic Games. Lieke Klaver is going to be in this field. Isabella Whitaker is in this field. Sade Williams is this is a stacked field across the board. Rashida Adeleke is opening up her season of 400 for the first time. She's run 200, she's run a couple other races, but her first outdoor 400 for 2025. She's of course run relays at World Relays for Ireland. This is going to be exciting. It'll be interesting to see the kind of placings. You've seen Natalia already run a few races this year, and she had a really strong split at the World Relays. But then Amber Anning is also someone who is coming off the World Indoor Gold Medal, but she hasn't looked as great outdoors yet. She didn't do as well in Miami for Grand Slam track, but she's someone who could, of course, turn it on at any moment. Isabella Whitaker has been on fire. You can argue she has been on fire. She has already run 50.1 this year. She's coming off that amazing indoor season for Arkansas indoors. I think she's really looking to, put her foot down as, all right, I'm here as a new professional athlete and I really want to be in this conversation. Henriette Jager, also someone in the convo. Lieke Klaver, hopefully she's starting to, get into the fold. So very strong field across the board. Similar field in Stockholm. Again, I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth because we're seeing very similar fields across the board. I think, Natalia is the only one who's not in this field. Shout out to Sade Williams as well. 2-time, World Championship bronze medalist from 2022 and 2023. So women's 400 in Oslo and Stockholm. But after that, we do have some strong fields in the 400 hurdles, specifically for the women's side. Now in Oslo, we will see a very strong field, and we're going to add Femke Bol in Stockholm, but here, Anna Hall is going to be in here. So Anna Hall making her second 400 meter hurdle race of 2025. She ran it at Grand Slam track, ran an extremely fast race, but then she's going to be going up against Dalila Muhammad. She's going to be going up against Ayomide Foloronzo, right? She's going to be going up against Cheyenne Salmon. This is a pretty strong field across the board, but Anna Hall is in a good position to, hopefully mix things up. Dalila Muhammad didn't have the greatest race at Grand Slam track in Philly, but she did run well in Botswana a little bit earlier. She ran well in Kingston a little bit earlier. So, she's looking to really get back into the fold here. Shout out to Ayomide as well. She's always an amazing athlete, and she ran decently well, I think, at the Rome Diamond League. In Stockholm, though, we're going to see the 400 meter hurdles for the women, but we're adding Femke Bol into this mix here. So very similar field. Anna Hall is in here, Dalila Muhammad, Ayomide, but Femke Bol is in this mix. Now, Femke Bol has already run 52.4 seconds. She recently just ran at the FBK Games, and, she covered that as well, and did well running 52 seconds. But here, she's getting her footing a little bit more. Maybe we're going to see her run, 52 low, maybe get up to, Sydney's run 52.06 seconds this year already. But Femke Bol, she's looking to defend her gold medal at the World Championships this year. Now, whether or not she does that, honestly, it really depends on if Sydney McLaughlin-Vroni chooses to run the 400 hurdles. And we won't know anything until we get to USA's, at the end of July. But Femke Bol, she's looking to defend that title, and she is going all out with it. So we'll see how that does happen. Also, shout out to Gianna Woodruff. She just ran, I forget the meet that she ran at, but she won in 54.67 seconds not too long ago. And this was maybe just a week ago. And I think she's having a pretty good season overall, at least, as things seem to progress. Gianna Woodruff, she's of course one of the more experienced athletes on the circuit, but never sleep on her. Represented Panama. She's been in the Olympic finals. She's been in world final. Like, she's been, someone always in the mix. So shout out to the women's 400 hurdles. A couple other races that we do have going down in Stockholm. We do have the women's 100-meter hurdles. And if you're not sure, I'm putting up at the top of the screen just which meet I'm actually taking a look at. Women's 100-meter hurdles in Stockholm, always stacked. Devin Charlton coming off second place in Kingston. Kenny Harrison, she was at the Miami Grand Slam track meet, did very well there. Alicia Johnson, she's always been in the conversation. Akira Nugent has been dominating Grand Slam track and is preparing for Jamaican trials in just a few weeks' time. Pia Skrzydowska, you have Grace Stark, Nadine Visser. This is the thing. You can never go wrong with the women's 100-meter hurdles field. Danielle Williams is the world champion. Like, this is amazing to see all these women stacked up here, and you're missing names like a Masai Russell, like a Jasmine Camacho Quinn or whoever, right? Like, some of these women are sitting out due to injury, but listen, this is high quality fields. I'm never going to predict who's going to win a 100-meter hurdle race for the women. A couple others just to highlight some of the field events: women's long jump, and then also the triple jumps that we have in Oslo. Stockholm long jump, we have Tara Davis-Woodhall, Olympic champion. She hasn't competed in a little bit. I think in 2025, maybe the last time she competed was indoors. Someone could cross-check me here. But she has a stacked field that she's going to be jumping against. Claire Bryant, the world indoor champion in the long jump. Larissa Iapicino, she has jumped over 7 meters this year already, 7.06. Of course, Jasmine Moore, bronze medalist from the Olympic Games. Monet Nichols, she got the silver medal at the World Indoor Championships last year. Akila Smith, right? She's in the mix here. You have Ivana Spanovic. You have all these women. Like, this is how can I forget? Malaika Mihambo is in this field. Like, shout out to this entire field. This is stacked. This women's long jump is absolutely stacked, and I'm excited to see how this unfolds. I am keeping my eye out on Larissa Iapicino, as in 2023, during the season, she was probably the favorite for the gold medal, or at least had the most consistent season. She didn't perform when we got to the World Championships, didn't do as well. Last year, she also missed making it onto the podium at the Olympic Games, so she's still extremely young though, so we'll see how that does play out, but this field is stacked, yo. This is stacked. I'm just looking at it now, and I'm like, what? Come on. So that's a Stockholm women's long jump. Two others, of course, I gotta highlight my field events. Long jump for the women. On the triple jump side, you do have the men's triple jump, which is also pretty heavy. Lázaro Martinez, he's going to be in the mix. You have Pedro Pichardo, he's going to be in this mix. Russell Robinson from the United States, Jordan Scott, right? Tricky from Algeria, Hughes Rizango, he's on the kind of a retirement tour. Max Hess, right? He's in the mix. So this is going to be a very, very competitive field. Pedro Pichardo, he of course is coming off a silver medal at the Olympics, and this is his wow, he's coming up on 13 years since 2013. That's the first time he won a medal at the World Championships in Moscow, and he's still going. Like, this is, man, shout out to Pedro Pichardo. He's really in this mix here. We're gonna see how things start to unfold as the year progresses, but very competitive men's triple jump field. And then finally, the women's triple jump is in this mix here. We're gonna see this is a strong field, right? You have Thea Lafond, who's gonna be the Olympic gold medalist from last year. Jasmine Moore, the Olympic bronze medalist from last year. Shanika Ricketts, the Olympic silver medalist from last year. Akilia Smith, right? Lidemas Povea. You have Lianis Perez Hernandez, Ana Pelletiro Compore. Apologize for the pronunciation. Like, this field is stacked, right? And Maja is gonna be in this mix. So very, very stacked field across the board for the women's triple jump. But that is the Oslo and Stockholm Diamond Leagues. Oslo is tomorrow, June 12th. Stockholm is on Sunday, June 15th. Really excited to see how both of these, Diamond Leagues play out. Just wanted to kind of highlight some of the fields and, some of the expectations. Again, I'm looking to see what Julien Alfred does in that 100. How is she going to be able to, perform in Oslo? Will she run fast, or will she just kind of get moving? And then also the men's hurdles. That's going to be very, very exciting. Like, are we going to see world records in the 300-meter hurdles again? And then how this is like gamesmanship in a sense, where you get the win here, that's going to set you up, as you go on to future Diamond Leagues and as you go to the World Championships later on this summer. But let me know what you think about both the Oslo and the Stockholm Diamond Leagues. Comment below what races you're looking forward to. But If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Always do appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.